This week, trading was so hard. I started the account with $2,180.15 and ended it with $1,758.33. I was genuinely ready to quit trading. Like, I was so done. As I was desperately searching for reasons to keep trying, I realized I've made a massive novice mistake. And that's when I realized that trading is much like the story of the Phoenix. So this week, I had to throw my strategy in the flames, sift through all the ashes, and allow it to be reborn. If you've been following me so far, you know that I journal every session and every trade, but I was missing the bigger picture. Something needed to change this week, and my strategy was ready to evolve. As I was putting my strategy in the flames, I felt a lot of resistance to this because I feel we hear as novice traders all the time to not change your strategy, that you have to learn to execute it. But I felt that there were some fundamental issues with my strategy when I started to look at things from a bigger picture. As I let the flames settle and I sat in the ashes, I felt like I had clarity with my trading. I felt like there was no emotion because I was at that rock bottom level where I felt like I had been destroyed, and honestly, emotionally, I was just completely flat. I had this stillness and almost calmness approach, and I guess without ego when it came to looking at my trading, because I felt like I had nothing to lose. And that's when I spent hours and hours looking through each and every trade and also looking at it with the bigger picture in mind, understanding from each trading session what could have been better. Why did I take so many trades? Why did I take so many losing trades? Where was my biggest winning trades and why? And I found 3 key things. The first key thing was that my most profitable trades came from trade setups that were based off the 5-minute chart. So let's quickly pop on the chart and actually have a look at what I mean by this. First, I'll go through a really good trade that was based off a 5-minute setup, but then I will actually go through my worst day this week and show you how I could have traded that so much better if I followed my strategy only on the 5-minute basis. I also want to explain that I feel as though trading off the 5-minute, there's a few reasons why this would work a lot better. And it's because on the 5-minute, it's a longer period of time, which naturally means there's more volume. And normally, cause of effect, more volume means a bigger move. And that's why I'm really aiming to just focus on a 5-minute time frame as my main entry based on volume. So that's, I guess, where a lot of my volume analysis is going to be coming from in the future. And the best bit about a 5-minute chart is there's more data because you've got a longer time frame, but in that same simplistic approach when it comes to looking at volume, which again, you'll be able to understand this once I pop on the chart here. So let's go ahead and look at the winning trade that I want to go through. Now, this is a trade that we have seen before on the series, so I'm not going to go too far in depth with the trade itself, but I want to explain how this trade looks on a 5-minute. All right, so this was the decent trade. As you can see here, we did get 4R out of this trade, and basically what I want to really focus on, so this was a reversion setup. If you guys want me to go through a strategy video where I just really focus on explaining my strategy, leave a comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts, and if you want a video like that, I'll work on making one for you guys. But let's go ahead and actually look at this trade. So as you can see, we've got dropping volume as price moves up, and as we get to this 30-minute level here, you can see that volume spikes on this 5-minute candle. Now, as that happens, I then look at my tape and see if I can see absorption and if I can see selling coming in, and I did, so that's why I entered short. Now my stop went above the 5-minute level, and as you can see, the trade did really well. It moved all the way down back to this level here of the 30-minute level that you can see here. So it's been one of my biggest moves when I trade off the 5-minute candles and volume, and that's just simply because there's more volume, a more accurate read because we've got a bigger sample that we're looking at the chart on, right? And it's funny because someone did comment about how 2 minutes have false signals, and in some cases this is correct, and I was just too stubborn to listen. And after this week, I've definitely realized that this will help me with my trading just by focusing on the 5-minute, because it'll have more quality setups. Let's have a look at this week's day, which was Wednesday, where we just absolutely like, look how many losses in a row. It's honestly embarrassing, and it takes so much of me to show this to you guys. So if you do enjoy these videos, please let me know in the comment section. I would love to hear your thoughts. Like, subscribe, because as I said, this takes so much to do videos like this, guys. What I want to do really is get rid of some of these, because what I want to look at really is volume, because volume is a major mover in terms of price. Now, I was so focused on the 2 minute this day, and I'm not 100% sure why I did that, what caused me to do that. But as I looked back, every signal that I took, this first trade was valid. Every other trade after that wasn't valid. And that's actually in my next point, but let's focus on volume right now. You can see with volume, I would not have taken any of these trades. We got to a 30-minute level here where volume dropped and it had a nice spike. And this could have been a decent move down, okay? We had a nice 5-minute level just above, so we could have easily traded off this level. Let's say we entered around there, had the stop above here. It was an achievable trade, right? If you have a look here, there was a trade here. The best bit about it is if we felt that it was delaying around this area and we exited, we had a second chance to also re-enter. So again, we had dropping volume and then we had the spike. So the spike was at the level where we were looking at prior. Of course, I look at the tape for confirmation. We would have been able to take this trade and get a nice 2-hour move out of this trade. I did not play this day correctly at all because I was so focused on the 2-minute chart, and it just kept giving me false signals, or signals where I was just getting tapped out of the trade too quickly and then it go my way, but I just wasn't being able to capitalize on the move. And this was really allowed me to focus on where is the big money moves, because as you've probably seen in the series, I make winning trades, but I have so many losing ones in between and I need to weed those out, and this is a way I'm going to do it. Now, the second thing is getting rid of a lot of the nuances within my trading system. So honestly, I was making it difficult for myself, and this was something that, again, I wasn't accepting as a novice trader, was I was drawing up levels on the 2 minute, drawing up 50% levels on the 2 minute, 5 minute and 30 minute, and there was just all these levels, and it really caused me to become confused with my directional bias. So we're cutting all of that out. So I am only trading off 5 minute and 30 minute levels, and also using my 50% levels only with 30 minute and 5 minute, no 2 minute levels. I will still be looking at 2 minute volume to help confirm a few things, but other than that, no levels or candlesticks or anything like that is being looked at, or any entries based on the 2 minute will be taken from this point forward. Using only high time frames will help my trading, because I should be capturing the main move, the most significant move, because higher the time frame, the more volume, the more focus on that level, the more likely you will to have that larger move from that level. Now, another nuance that I'm also getting rid of in my trading, which again, if you've been following the series, you would notice this, is whether I draw up my levels based on the wick or based on the spread of the candle, which is basically the body of the candle. Now, there was a few times where I was changing this dependent on how the price was reacting, and I've decided to completely cut that out and completely use the wick. So I'm using all movements of price. So I'm trying to get the most accurate reading on the price. So that is completely changing. This will also help me not having to remember so many things when I approach the trading session. Instead, I get to focus on my process. Something that has really come to mind this week is the easier the processes that I make for myself, the easier it will be for me to carry out that during a trading session, regardless of how tired I am, how emotional I am, or anything like that. If my process is bulletproof, my trading should be really, really good, because I've got that bulletproof process to follow regardless. Having less levels to consider and only have the main significant levels as well will help my mind be a lot clearer, so I can make decisions faster and make better decisions during my trading session. Number 3, and honestly my favorite, because this has really caught me out through a lot of my trading sessions, is if there is no level to put your stop, then you have a clear highway for price to go against you in any trade. Let's kind of break that down for a second. If there's no 5-minute or 30-minute level for you to put your stop because you've entered here, or if you're going long, you've entered here and there's nowhere to put your stop, that means there's no resistance levels for price to actually hold above where you've entered or below where you're entered, depending on your direction. So this is a clear signal that if you go to take a trade, or you've got a trade idea because volume's setting up and the tape looks good, if you don't have any other levels above that to put your stop, it means there's a very good chance that if it doesn't hold exactly where you're entering, the price is going to go against you. This is going to help me so much when it comes to looking at my trades during my trading session and being able to make decisions on the spot based on what the chart is telling me. And this all comes back to process. At the end of the day, if you have very binary thinking, you'll be able to make very clear decisions. And this was something that I was able to point out in my trading sessions, that if I understand that there's not a stop level close enough to my entry, it's likely that I've got a massive clear highway for price to go against me. That thought within itself will let me know that I'm trading in the wrong direction. So remember this, if you're a novice trader that gets caught with having incorrect daily bias and just continuously trades stubbornly with the wrong bias and just holds that bias during your trading session, that's something to consider next time you take a trade. So with all this new knowledge, just like the Phoenix, I will rise again, and crazily enough, at the end of this week, I feel more confident than I ever have. This week gave me the shakeup that I needed to change my strategy and not just be stubborn because of the once-off advice that I've heard online. I took a second to take the bigger picture in my trading and understand where I needed to improve. I want to know if you guys have had a Phoenix moment in your trading. Let me know down below. And if you're new here, I'm documenting my journey to become a profitable trader. And if you like this video and you want to check out what led me to this video and talking about this topic, check this video here where it all began. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.